deserves to be heard. Everyone's story is important. At this point, we invite the person who has decided to tell their story and a huge amount of courage to both do the work to prepare and to stand up in front of all of you and tell the truth. So let's welcome Eva. The passion of Reconstruction is helping people become who they really are without the coping mechanisms, without the trauma effects of their life story.
Oh, are you gonna pull me? You're not gonna sit with me, Poppy?
It has a lot of theatrical elements to it.
Let's go. You ready? Yeah, let's just go a little bit.
In a community of people who care about the story being told. Experiential therapy and psychodrama and reconstruction therapies make abstract concepts concrete.
Okay, so the picture of the disease is we've got the wheelchair, we've got the ugly thing in the wheelchair that represents the fear. Heard you
That's
say.
what really the symbol is. This is my fear, my great fear.
In the wheelchair.
In the wheelchair. So
it's that person's perception of their story. We're not looking for absolute truth. We're looking for an individual's truth.
Reconstruction really began as a family therapy technique because that was Virginia Satir's specialty. She taught my mentor, Sharon Wegscheider Cruz, who in the 80s and early 90s brought a broader range of therapeutic techniques to it and added the addiction piece because Sharon Wegscheider Cruz came out of the addictions field. This is not the beginning for Eva. This is a long process of writing her story, finding out what she can about her family history. There's just a whole lot of things that Eva has been willing to do to make this all happen.
Preparing for the reconstruction star takes several years.
I worked with Libby for over 2 years, but there was just that 1 year of really hard preparation, and it was just basically writing my life story in various forms, sometimes drawing, sometimes writing, sometimes just discussing, but basically building a timeline from before I was born into the present.
Sometimes what we do in preparing for the reconstruction is we will have family members come to intensives. And so Eva's sister came from another state and sat with her and with me. I happened to be Eva's therapist, and we did a lot of family history and stories.
And there's 2 central roles. One has whatever name Eva chooses should name this person. And that, sometimes we call it the stand-in, because this person is actually going to step into Eva's life at points where Eva can witness it. They're an audience to their story. And so the stand-in can often say, you know, if I had lived through this particular situation, I would have felt this way. Do you have an idea of who you'd like to play that role?
Of course.
Okay.
Amy, would you do that for me? And
Amy?
Janet will give you Pinky.
The other primary player is, for some people it is God, for some people it is higher power, for some people it's goddess or the mountain. It's an individual spiritual journey. It's not specific to any religion or anything like that.
Eva will choose that person based on a representative to her of the spiritual side of things, or things that are greater than ourselves, which is a term from recovery programs. So, have you thought about who would you like to do that?
Yep, it would be Janet if she'll do it. Janet is the goddess with skin on.
She begins her day with her inner child and her higher power.
First, let's let you tell Janet why you picked her out to be the higher power.
And the symbolism of that is that for any of us, as long as I'm hanging on to me and to my spirituality or my higher power, then I'm good.
Before we go to the places in our life that might be painful or that might be hard, first we develop, a sense that there are people in Eva's life for whom she can lean on. This also gives you an opportunity to know a little bit about who Eva is. It's very important to start with the hero's current life. It's also an opportunity to let you be doing some thinking of your own. Who is it in your life that you get your support from? We ask the person to begin to develop support systems, for one, not to be alone while they sit down and write their life story. We're going to get some more role players up here. And the first person I would like you to pick is Randall.
My best friend.
Your best friend?
My best friend. Dan.
Those people are oftentimes called family of choice. These are the people that you would call if you were in trouble. Because we don't go down the dark roads by ourselves.
Yes, I want a hug from Red.
He's your bestie.
Hugs all around. Thank you. Thank you, Lucia.
Yeah, make yourself like a really strong wall of support. Would you like to lean on them?
I'm leaning. I'm so lucky. To me, it just felt good. A lot of my life is about building relationships, and so it's really wonderful to sort of see the fruit of that I do have this wonderful family of friends. I sort of bask in that. You know, that's, to me, that's one of the most important things I've done in my life.
The person who's being reconstructed is giving us the gift of doing their work publicly so that we can do our own work, you know, on the inside that day. And then the things that appear for us in that day, then going to small group, then there's the opportunity to work on that in the safety of the small group. When we go in for the day, for the reconstruction, people have been in their small group on Thursday, they know their peeps, and that small group is what they'll go back to on Saturday after the day-long reconstruction to do their own personal work.
All right, now what we're going to do next, Eva, is we're going to do some time travel.
There's a wide range of people who are there. There are people who have never done this before, have never seen it before. There are people who go back year after year. You know, they come again because they get so much personal growth work done.
I was reconstructed myself in October of 2010, and then we are invited back for the reconstructions that happen after us. And in fact, we have support from each other after being reconstructed, much like you would in a 12-step program. So it's not like we're reconstructed and then just left to wander about by ourselves. We still have a big support system from each other.
Wells.
Wells
Wells
would be man.
is man.
That's great grandmother.
That's my great grandma.
So that's mother's, these are mother's parents. This is mother, her mother's grandmother. So this is...
You know that the people that are playing your parents or whatever scene that you're playing, you know that they're not the real, the person that's playing your dad is not your dad. You know the person, your mom is not your mom. But in your head, it really feels real. And in your emotions, it feels real. So you get to do things a different way. And it also, I mean, actually play it out in a different way through this drama process and the reconstruction. And you get to also observe your life from the outside.
You can watch it or you can be it, because you have Amy to play your inner child. So
I think I'll watch it.
okay,
I'll try
that's
that.
fine. You want a little chair closer to... One of the essential questions we always ask: how does it feel to be born right here? Because some people feel welcome and wanted, and some people there's too much stress, or they're an accidental child, or the parents are not available and they don't feel welcome. Eva is also premature, about 4 weeks premature. Her birth weight is 4 pounds, which drops to 3 pounds. And in 1960, she's placed in an incubator, which premature babies are placed in. Of course, I already know the story, and I oftentimes know it very well. Some of it's I've memorized, and some of it I have a little framework to help me, like a cheat sheet. And basically what I have done is I have, in my mind, constructed a couple of scenes and probably some props that would go with it. But I don't know the outcome at all of what's going to happen. Okay. I'm going to ask your higher power to come up here and stand over your shoulder. How does that feel?
That feels better. I didn't have that in my life until a few years ago.
Well, you didn't have an awareness of that in your life until several years ago. However, let me give you a little bit of a thought and see what your higher power has to say. Some people don't survive being premature. So individual to how much the person really wants me to be the director for them and how much they want to direct for themselves. It's almost impossible to tell until we really start going.
I was with you all along.
Thank you.
And I wanted your heart to keep beating.
The facilitator, Ann Rainey, would have you sit with the rest of the people and ask me, how does it feel, and how do you feel the group at this family system that you're seeing? And it turned lights on that never were turned on before. It made me see just how, maybe probably the biggest difference it made in my life is that it made me feel compassion for myself.
So you look like you're having some feelings, inner child. Can you tell us what your feelings are, little Eva?
I like to know that I'm safe and that you think I'm wonderful.
Then what we do is a bit chronological. Who else was in their life? Were their grandparents there? Were there pets? Were there friends? It's also an opportunity to express any feelings about the way things happened in those time frames. And then this is what he says. Your child has cerebral palsy and will never walk.
Your child has cerebral palsy and will never walk.
And Grandma writes in her diary, this is the darkest day of my life. And oftentimes when we hit the point of adolescence, we're really beginning to see those coping mechanisms. Then we begin to see where they came from, what they look like. They're just there. Now I want to show you one more picture that we showed the grandparents and we showed your dad. And I'd like to just show you one more picture about your mother. That seems very important to me. So let's get the person playing mother.
One of the most difficult individuals for Eva to do her work around was her mother. That's not always the case. In Eva's case, it just so happens that it was her mother, who was a very unusual and powerful woman, and who really, you know, it was hard for Eva to take her off of that pedestal.
She took prescription drugs to get the energy to work, and she took prescription drugs then to help her sleep, and she slept many, many hours. The shopping bags are about the one thing that Mother really made Mother happy, and that was to accumulate belongings.
During a scene where my mother was laying, you know, asleep, and I was just sort of watching someone else play me at the door.
I feel abandoned out here. I want you to get up.
I remember I walked over there and I started talking to her. You know, bags are closer than she is. It's not right. It's not right. And at the time, it felt really fake. And that's the strange thing is when I first started to do something, it would feel really fake, but it would only feel fake for a couple of seconds, like I was sort of forcing it. And then instantly I'd be in this other state where it all made sense and where I needed to say what I needed to say, and I wasn't aware of it. It wasn't fake anymore.
So we're going to have a little pool party. And who would you like to invite to your pool party?
We always try to do some fun things. We always try to play music and laugh.
Can I invite everyone?
What an idea. Okay, anyone wants to pretend you're having a pool party?
Let's have everyone.
We'll play you a little pool song.
Play Marco Polo.
Yeah, we can play Marco Polo. Can I just stay here the rest of the day? While I was at the zoo doing the job of the medical management book, I was lucky to get to help hand raise 2 little orangs that got rejected by their mother. It wasn't really related to the book, but my friend was the curator of primates, and we needed a team to raise these babies because they needed care around the clock. There was one that didn't have its mom and didn't have enough care at a zoo where they didn't have a team, so we moved her to the zoo I was at.
So can you show how she clung to you?
Just like this all the time. With their little feet,
Okay.
and little hands.
Up around like that. Okay. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. Isn't that beautiful? What did she have a name?
The 2 of them were called Sayabu and Felice.
Okay. Sayabu and Felice taught you what attachment really is about.
Yep.
There's something about gathering people in a group that resonates in the right brain because it's about relationships. And because it's about relationships, people tend to feel, if they feel safe in a community, to resonate with more with their emotions, with the action of the story.
You're gonna have to talk a little bit louder.
You did not try hard enough. You can try hard enough, you can do anything. But
No!
This. What do you want to do?
No!
What do you want to do?
I don't know. What do I want to do? I don't know.
What kind of people do you ask when you don't know?
What should I do? Hold on. Here, move your hand. I'm putting my crutches back there. I need these. I'm not getting here permanently. Let's not get carried away with this shit. There. Ooh, that's good on my back.
I know, it's the best chair in the world.
So the great lesson is that you're not in a wheelchair, but it isn't something you need to be afraid of. There usually comes a point that I call a turning point. Everyone will know exactly when it happens. And what it looks like surrender sometimes. It looks like hitting bottom sometimes. It looks like relief. Sometimes it just looks, it's like I get it.
That burden to be that great, it was huge. It's a huge burden to have. And then your mother goes into, not only does she break all of these barriers, but she also goes into a line of work which is putting people to sleep for surgery that you can't make a mistake. So she has a job in which perfection is absolutely called for.
Probably the biggest thing I learned was at the very end where the person playing my mother was crushed under the weight of everything. I think she also suffered from depression.
Yes. I think there was a lot of depression.
And so I have empathy. I feel sad that her life was so hard. She was the golden child and the hope of both my great-grandparents and my grandparents. She was the one that they saved up to send her to school and that they invested all their hopes in, and I never saw that. I never realized that, and the pressure, and I never realized that she ultimately did fail. I mean, she didn't have everything she wanted and she wasn't happy. And that was an eye-opener for me, and it gave me a way to forgive her for some of her mistakes without really, saying they're nothing, but just a way to say, oh, here's what happened to her. That was eye-opening.
Then we begin to really look at your life as a victory. And that is a lot of what the end of a reconstruction is. This is a triumph. It wasn't just surviving something. It was really finding yourself in a storm.
You know, during the reconstruction, it's really hard to remember specific parts of it. So, I can remember specific little parts, but I can't separate parts of it. It was, in truth, you're kind of in an altered state, it seems, and the details don't really, stick in your mind at the time. But overall, I mean, at the end of the day, it felt fantastic, and it continued to feel lighter and easier after that. And the things that I do remember from the reconstruction and remember clearly, and I can probably remember it all, I just can't get it in the right order, they seem really simple, and I'm kind of surprised at the fact that such simple things could have such a profound effect on how I feel.
It was really difficult for me to access my feelings, and going through life without feelings is just kind of surviving. So doing the reconstruction process allowed me to start actually living a life.
It never connected. Made the biggest connection, which I always say is the longest eight inches is between your heart and your head. And my work at the reconstruction really did it. It sort of rewired the way I thought, and reoriented my sort of being in the world.
And every day I feel a little bit more of me. And I didn't know what or how that could be, but I'm happy. And I didn't know that I could be happy.
And those changes occur months, even years afterwards. And the gift of that is that I've been able to then, through my healing process, be able to help other people heal and be on this journey too.
What Eva did was, by the end of the day, all of that hard work, all of that time, all of those emotions, all of the investment in doing that, at the end of the day, she gets to make peace with her story, and it loses its power to harm her walking forward. And since we are our stories, it is the most remarkable, and life-changing experience.